青や強がって飛び乗って風に流って青空昨日を越えろ
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Talking MONS. I almost did the intro for the other show. This is our Digimon Adventure 2020 recap podcast, and this week we are going to be talking about episode 14. Is that right? I forgot to pull the thing up.
Yeah, I lost count.
I think it's 14. Whatever the episode says it is. This is the episode where we finally get Mega Kabuterimon, who is, I think, has rocketed to my favorite now.
Oh my god, this was like my favorite of the Mega episodes.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
It actually had proper character development.
Yeah. I gotta say, this episode is like at least in a long show, where I was like, I found myself actively smiling and like getting pumped when things started happening in this episode. I'm like, that's a good feeling to have.
It was such a good feeling.
Yeah. So this episode, we're still cutting back and forth between the Matt, Sora, Joe group and the Tai, Izzy, Mimi group. And this one we're back with Tai's gang. And they find themselves in a canyon maze. And are attacked by Kawagamon, who, if you are familiar with the original show, was like the big first bad guy that the kids in the Digimon fought. But now it's like 14 episodes in, and he's just now showing up.
Well, there's a whole swarm of them.
There's a swarm of them, and their evolved form is there.
Swarm of murder beetles.
Murder beetles, man. It's crazy. And yeah, and then it's really a focus on like Izzy really because what we've been seeing the last couple of episodes is Izzy has been really reliant on his computer, which I'm still not sure how the thing didn't die of didn't like just have its battery drained.
It's digital. He's in the internet. It's always powered.
The electricity is literally in the air. So yeah, it's really a character study with Izzy about him not leaning so much on his technology, but like he's like a legitimately smart kid, and he doesn't need to rely on a computer to like strategize and like figure out the best course of action to get everybody through. And I really liked that they even had a moment where Izzy was getting frustrated because like his laptop basically died this episode, and like he wasn't able to use it at all, which kind of really frustrated him. And I liked that it had a moment with him where he's just like, I was just so frustrated because like this computer was helping me like come up with strategies for everybody, and I was just getting so used to being like everyone relying on me for this kind of information, and that now that I'm stuck,
He felt useless.
Exactly, and I like that they had that moment for him. So I'll just say I really like this episode, but I'll let you guys get your takes in.
It made me just feel really nostalgic for the old series, and it was really well written, but also kind of was parallel to the old series where Izzy was like reliant on his laptop, and he didn't think he was anything without his laptop. And I just felt like this was that, but so much better written. So it's like the perfect balance of the new and the old, and I loved it. Plus, the action scenes are like really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely want to talk about the action.
Yeah, and unlike the other Mega Evolution episodes, I feel like this has been building up just because we've seen him with his laptop all the time. Everything. Analyzing everything, all the advice that he's given, it's all from the laptop. And we've seen that. It's not like suddenly out for this episode.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, as far as, because like every one of these, like everyone getting their ultimate form is basically it's their trainer, tamer, partner, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Really exhibiting the emotion, the feeling of whatever their crest is supposed to represent. And some have been more justified than others, but I really feel like this one, like when Kabuterimon finally gets it digivolves into Mega Kabuterimon, it really feels earned. Like I love like Izzy and Kabuterimon's relationship to this whole thing, because it's just like Tentomon like believes in Izzy so much. Like he knows he's a smart kid, and he like really knows like like how useful and how helpful he is, and like I like that he's just so encouraging. So it's like Kabuterimon this entire episode is like trying to encourage Izzy, like, hey, you're really smart, and like what should we do? Like, what we should do. And like trying to boost Izzy up and trying to get him out of his funk of like feeling so useless because his computer's broken. And I like that he's like fighting Okuamon, like just like trying to prove to Izzy, like, hey, we're in this together. And I need your help for this kind of stuff. So I also just like that. I don't know if anyone else was getting Kamen Rider vibes off of Kabuterimon this episode.
Actually, what my husband pointed out to me, not that, but rather it was Japanese beetle wrestling, just with big beetles.
Yeah, I could also see that. I just like that Kabuterimon has like a few moments where he just like does like poses.
Yes. Oh my god, that was so good.
Yeah, it's like he's some kind. If like it felt like some kind of Sentai Kamen Rider, but I can also see some like wrestling stuff.
Yeah, and then he just squishes like the champion ones, just squishes them.
Yeah.
And there's like with the other Digimon, there's some interesting strategy. Like for example, when there's just some interesting strategies, especially when they use Izzy's brain to like do with the mirror stuff, and that was pretty great.
And I like that was a callback, like because they encounter that it's almost like a one-off thing at the beginning of the episode. We can use that.
Chekhov's gun.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
I will say, like in this series, the episode quality is very inconsistent, but this was definitely probably one of my favorite episodes that I've seen so far.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I still thought Mimi was pretty funny in this. I love Mimi.
Mimi has never been one of my favorite characters, but she is quickly growing on me in this show for some reason.
She was never one of my favorite characters in the original, but she, Izzy, and Joe are my favorites in this one.
There's one little moment in the fight scene that I just laugh out loud is Togemon not just like body slamming one of the bugs, but she's spinning with the whole
oh yeah, she just like the tornado body slam into
yeah,
him.
Yes, that was
like,
amazing.
Overkill, but awesome.
It was great. The one piece of action that like really got me really hyped for some reason is I love that like when Mega Kabuterimon and Okuamon are like up in the sky fighting, and Mega Kabuterimon's like, okay, Izzy, what do we do? And Izzy's just like, just beat the shit out of him, really. And so he starts boxing him.
Yeah.
Just like, with forearms. And I'm like, yeah, I'm down for this.
It definitely felt like one of those anime shonen fights where...
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
One-on-one. There's no more strategy.
No, yeah, that's literally what he says. Like, it's a one-on-one head-to-head battle, and it's like, all right, cool. And starts punching him in the face.
Yeah.
And then he grows his giant horns and, like, just blasts him into the ground, and it's great. Yeah. Tai really doesn't do too much in this episode. He's something that kind of bothers me. Like, I get it for a story purpose, but like, why did I don't really get why it took till the end of the episode for Metal Greymon to show up. I guess they can't digivolve when they're getting their ass beat.
I don't think they can because they have to be like in the right mindset, I think, to digivolve to Mega form.
Yeah.
The ultimate, sorry, no Megas yet. But
we'll get there.
But my husband was pointing out, he's like, can we just have one episode where Tai that features Tai where his Digimon doesn't digivolve into an ultimate form? Can we just focus on Izzy? I'm like, that's fair. Like, it was okay, but that's a fair comment.
Yeah, I kind of felt like where Metal Greymon comes in at the end just to finish everybody off. I'm like, that seemed a little unnecessary. I think Mega Kabuterimon had this.
Yeah, No, he just come in and squish them. That's what he was
But
doing
it's-
anyway.
But still, he didn't like overshadow Mega Terrymon.
No, yeah,
No.
Kabuterimon still got the spotlight. And something, Gary, you kind of mentioned last week when I was complaining about the Digivolving sequence. You had mentioned that like maybe for a lot of these they're gonna like start doing where they go into the evolution sequence, but then like transition right back into the action. And it happened again this week with Kabuterimon. So I think you were kind of onto something there.
Yay!
Yeah. And honestly, after seeing it this week, I'm kind of like, okay, if that is the direction they're going with, okay, I guess I can kind of get down with that. It kind of is kind of cool to see them transition. One thing I don't know if we've seen before, and I think is kind of interesting, is that when the Kawagamon showed up, Palmon, Agumon, and Tenamon all digivolve, but they don't go through a sequence. It's literally just like a ball of light surrounds them and they grow into the thing while this, like, without breaking the scene at all. They don't go into like a transformation sequence.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And it's like, if sometimes it felt like, especially when you had like the entire team digivolving in the old show, they would just go through everybody's full sequence and it was like there to pad time. So I kind of like this where it's just like, all right, do a quick little ball of light. All right, they're big now. Go. So it really go ahead, Gary.
Well, it doesn't cut into the action, and everything is still like flows.
Exactly, and
It's
I
still
feel
that urgency.
Yeah, and I feel like that kind of shows like, because obviously the transformation sequence, all that flash and stuff, that's for us, the audience. I feel like showing how the Digimon would digivolve just like balls of light and then grow to be bigger without, stopping to do anything. I feel like that's kind of more in like, this is what the characters in the show would see. This is what's happening during the transformation sequence that we're seeing. They're just seeing that ball of light. And you're right, it doesn't break the action. So I'm kind of okay with that. The only really other thing that happens in this episode is that we get a bookends of Joe, Sora, and Matt just walking up a hill.
I just love how Matt just kept walking until Joe basically shut up and fall asleep.
I didn't get that. I don't know if it was like supposed to be funny, but it's like, yeah, Matt and Gabumon are walking ahead of like, because Joe and Sora are like riding on Ikakumon's back, and Joe's like screaming at him the entire time to like, hey, you can get on, it's great, it feels nice. And like Matt just doesn't say anything. Gabumon's like, hey, he's talking to you. And then Matt's like, nah, it's fine. And then at the end of the episode, Joe's falling asleep, and then Matt just stops like, okay, we'll get on now. And then he does. And that's the end of the episode.
Matt's just a jerk.
Matt's weird.
It's a jerk move, but it's just hilarious. Like, no, he's not very much a loner anymore. He just doesn't like people, but
I guess
he tolerates people now.
It never ceases to like baffle me that his crest is the crest of friendship, and he's like the lone wolf. Literally, his Digimon is a wolf. Oh my God.
I never thought of that before. Oh my God.
He's the lone wolf, and he has a wolf.
Yeah.
An edgy wolf.
An edgy wolf who, punk rock wolf, and knuckles and bikes and shit. Turns into a robot.
Yeah. No, I love like his mega form. It's so cool.
Yeah. The other real big thing about this is we got a new ending sequence, everybody.
Yeah.
What's the new ending song? And did they also change that opening sequence? It's the same song, but
I usually skip over the intro song, so I don't know if it's changed or not.
No,
the song is the same, but like, did they added the different evolutions into it, or the spinny sequence that was in the original series intro? Or did I miss that for a few episodes?
I might have to rewatch that because I just basically skipped the intro because I watched it on Hulu and it gives me that option.
Yeah, I didn't notice it, but if it was subtle, I probably would have missed it.
Yeah,
like they changed from widescreen back to like full screen, like old school TV with Tai spinning into the Digimon, like all the different letters. Has that always been here?
Yeah, the beginning of the intro has always had Ty by himself doing the old school spin.
Really?
Yeah, that's always how it's opened.
I have not skipped the intro, but I've not seen it.
Huh. Weird.
That is okay. No,
Wow.
it's my brain is getting old.
It's
Let's talk
okay,
about
Gary.
the ending sequence and song.
The new ending is super cute.
It is. It also gives Matt more personality than he has in the show.
Dude, it's like he's never smiled in the show, but here he's like laughing like an idiot, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is not the man I know.
But I really like it. I think it's a very animated ending, and I think it's cute as well, and I think it's great.
It's super bouncy, and I like that like it really shows off the personalities between everybody. Like I like that like Mibi and Palmon are swinging on a vine. I like that Gomon is like almost drowning Joe.
Yeah. I think the only thing is I preferred the actual song of the or the first OP, or not OP, ED.
Yeah, this is like a weird dubstep song.
Yeah,
It's
but
weird.
I like the animation of this one so much better.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
very stylized too. It's not just smoothly animated. It's just that there's this style to it with like it feels like it's a paper cutout kind of thing with like
yeah,
spinning element.
and it looks a little different than how the show looks, just a little bit. It might just be how they're shaded or what, I don't know exactly. The character designs don't look exactly like how they do in the show. It's just a little off, but
yeah.
But no, it's super fun and I love it. And I think it's we see TK and Patamon for once finally.
Yeah, is this foreshadowing? Does that mean that he's already in the digital world?
So I don't know. So I looked at the episode guide and I think it's like next episode we're getting Zudomon. So we're gonna get Joe and Goemon's evolution out of the way. And then there's like 2 episodes in between that we don't have a title for yet. 3 episodes, sorry. And then episode 19 looks like it's gonna have to do with Leomon. So
no, we're gonna see him die again.
He has to die, Gary. Tradition dictates that Leomon has to die.
No.
It's like a meme now.
Let Leomon live 2020.
Give us some bit of light in this dark times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure TK and Patamon will start showing up here soon. I mean, now that they're in the ending. And I guess we'll kind of just see how that works out. I'm not sure what they're gonna have planned with them, but they gotta show up eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to bring up about this episode?
We did see parts of the real world where things are going down.
Yeah.
Bruh, if people haven't died already, they're gonna start.
Yeah,
it's power out everywhere. Why are you still using elevator? Like, it's like going on.
Yeah, I don't get how the number of people trapped in elevators is increasing. Like I was confused by that too.
Yeah.
How can you get into an elevator if the elevator was not working because the power was out in the first place?
Well,
I get the car crash, I get the fire, but the elevator's like, use just freaking.
So maybe
common sense.
You might have to refresh my memory. I seem to remember last time we heard about how the real world was doing is that the city hadn't completely gone out of power. It was just like most of the city was out.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if like the people that were in the elevator, like their end of town had power still, but like while they're in the elevator, it cut out finally.
Ah, that makes sense.
But
it
also
you know that it's spreading, then you might as well just take the stairs.
Yeah, I agree that it is kind of a dumb move. If like there's a rolling power outage, and who knows when it's going to hit our area of town, maybe don't go in the elevator. It was a little ominous that they like all these people are in the elevator and like it goes dark as like one by one their phones die.
See, Tokyo's just fucked. Digidestin just need to make their new life in the digital world now.
Yeah, just there's no point to go back. It's all fucked. Real world's fucked. Stay there.
At least you'll never have to take your exams, Joe.
But that's all he has going for him.
He's a senpai too.
Senpai Joe needs to take these exams.
Yeah. Save Tokyo 2020. Joe needs to take his exams.
That's why we gotta save it. So Joe can take a test. So all that studying wasn't for nothing.
Yep.
Alright. Well, there you go, guys. There's our review of episode 14. We'll be back again next week to talk about Zudomon and his giant fuck off Thor hammer.
The original Thor.
Yeah, my wife will be happy because it'll be a Gomamon episode, and she was actively complaining that there was no Gomamon in this episode, so she was unhappy about it. But you know, next week is all about him, so she'll be happy. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you everybody for listening. Stay safe, and we will catch you again next week.
Have a good week.